All right, folks, another Wednesday out here. It's August the 15th. So we talk about the Ides of August as well. Welcome. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. It's a hangout again for journalists. Let's share the menu with you. Acting President Osinbajo orders overhaul of police anti-robbery squad, SARS. Anger over Saraki's refusal to recall National Assembly. Lagos All Progressives Congress opts for direct primary for 2019 politics or elections, and later on, Nigerian troops overpower insurgents, kill 7 in Borno as army buries troops killed in twin ambush. I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Did I greet you?
I greet you, Citizen.
Dare Odufokon is also here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the team is ready as always. I hope you are. All right, it's a gross understatement to say that Nigeria's Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or SARS, the one you know as SARS, requires an urgent reinvention and new character. While it may be argued that old habits die hard, the chance to beat a new pathway is always there. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has directed Police Chief Ibrahim Idris to immediately overhaul the management and activities of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The squad had over time gained notoriety for high-handedness, incivility, and extrajudicial killings. Can SARS really be reformed, Jide? Let's start like that.
Yes, I believe that if we have the political will, it can happen. The acting president has to follow up his directive and ensure that the Inspector General of Police implements his directive, because the Inspector General of Police, at least, has a history of not carrying out the instruction of his bosses. So in this case, we have to make sure that what he's been told to do, he does, and that he does it in a comprehensive manner. We are not interested in cosmetic reform of any sort, because my feeling is that some people in the police leadership are too gripped by nostalgia to want to do away with an aberrant and highly irresponsible arm of the force. Because the stories that we hear, some of which we have evidence of about SARS, puts the country to shame, puts the police to shame. So it's about time something was done about SARS. Initially, when the NSARS campaign began, there were people who were saying, oh, this is an attempt to embarrass the government. You know, there are some individuals who think that every time you criticize the government, no matter, yes, that you are an enemy, no matter how thoughtful that criticism is, they think that is their responsibility to spring to the defense of the president or even of the vice president. And they do it in a very responsible manner. Well, you've seen now that something that a campaign that began, and some of them were claiming, oh, it is the people who have something to hide, who are afraid of SARS. We've seen our acting president now respond that in view of endless complaints about these guys, there is a need to do something. And we've debated it here in the past. So it's really fitting, it's good that our government had decided that enough is enough. Remember the amnesty report about SARS of 2016, September 2016. Journalists were interviewed, former detainees were interviewed, lawyers were interviewed, civil society members were interviewed. They can't all be lying against us, for God's sake.
Okay.
So we have a situation now that the acting president has said, we want a SARS that is intelligence-driven, not a SARS that will be used to collect money from debtors. We want a SARS that will no longer convert civil offense to criminal offense. That's the sort of SARS that we want. So and that should happen. It has to happen.
Derry, you know, at a time like this, you cannot but provoke certain debates that's lived with us over time. Do we deserve the police we have? In this case, the SARS.
Well, like the saying goes that every society gets whatever it deserves.
In this case, whatever police it gets,
The
it deserves
sort of law enforcement.
We deserve better, but what we have on our hand is actually a product of our own society.
Good.
And it can only change when the society now decides to change. And I think that is what is happening. We must give...
It's a two-legged thing.
It's a two-legged thing. We change, then
They
force
change.
will change. And maybe that's why we should give a lot of accolades to the acting president. Professor Yemi Osinbajo is fast coming out as a man
He's a good student.
who knows how to use the opportunities he gets. And he's redefining the role or person or position of the vice president. The vice president comes across like a spare tire. But even when we have vehicles and you have a spare in your boot, and the moment you have a flat tire, the spare cannot, is found to be flat too or non-functional, then it's as good as not having a spare tire.
Yeah.
Professor Osinbajo has shown that we can put the deputies, the vice president and the deputy governors to good use. Every time he stepped forward, he has stepped forward like a man who watched events and knows what to do about them.
Don't forget, he's acting in concert with
With
number
the
one.
president, of course, I know, and that's what I'm saying. He sees an issue, he consults his boss, and he takes action.
Yeah.
There have been deputies
So,
who
which is saying
ordinarily...
both of them are on the same
synergy.
page.
Yeah, I'm talking about the synergy now.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. And it can only come when the deputy understands his boss.
And the boss has
Infinite
faith.
faith in him and listening
And
ear
confidence, yeah.
to his deputy. So it is not common in our climb to find this type of relationship. It's always cat and mouse. But here, with what has happened, the campaign for the overhauling of SARS has been nearly age-long. He came, and he didn't just ask for cosmetic changes. He was explicit in what he wants done. And I've seen the IG,
No more stop and search.
surprisingly, the IG who the president himself said he didn't listen to me or he didn't obey me. Immediately, I've seen him
Knows it's
carrying
dangerous.
out some, but like Jide said, anti this cosmetic. SARS issue goes beyond the leadership, the headship. He has changed the commander. He will create some new offices. The men on the street, and he has promised training.
You have added federal to SARS.
Now he has, then there will be one federal commander.
Yeah.
That's a commissioner of police. But
In charge of SARS.
how about the men on the road?
Good.
The men who commit these atrocities. Is it that we cannot change them? Let's have some fresh bread. Let's really
demand for that change.
Let's tackle the men on the street. Okay, you've had your day. Let's have some
Barry,
fresh
because
blood.
it is possible
It is possible. And
to reinvent anything,
we
however
just need
cruel.
to do it.
That's it.
It's for us to do it.
Jide, let's be fair to the police. In December, I can take you back now, the IG said he announced there was going to be a reorganization of the unit.
Yes.
8 months down the line, we're still singing the same song.
Yes, because we have
So
not seen...
would you say he's handicapped? He was handicapped until now?
It's not a case of the IG being handicapped. It's a case of the IG probably not too keen to make that change happen. Remember, that was not... He didn't make that promise on the back of a presidential directive.
Okay, yeah.
He responded to agitations and all that.
Yeah.
And before then, we had a situation in which some people organized a rally in defense of SARS, paid people money in Port Harcourt in defense of SARS. You see, everything we do
who
in our
paid?
country, the organizers were paid.
Okay.
They
organize
paid.
it,
Yes.
organize the rally.
Because even TV stations were paid to cover it live in some cases. So what are we talking about? Oh, you don't
But
engage.
this is curious.
Yeah, but that's reality.
That's the reality.
That's reality, and as news people and historians, we cannot forget these things. You don't organize such rallies without people's palms being greased.
Yeah. And so a number
Sponsored rallies.
a number of
Sponsored
people.
rallies to support the status quo.
Yeah.
To support the maintenance of the status
System,
quo.
the way it was.
And we have one arm of the police routinely misbehaving, leading people to ATMs and taking money from them. And police have a record of such complaints being lodged officially with them. So with that situation, with such a situation, he promised change at the time. But now, because it's a presidential directive, we know that at least there is seriousness. There is an attempt to make sure that real change, not the sort of cosmetic change that the IG promised us. Real change authored by the presidency is about to happen. And so as Nigerians, the responsibility that we have is to continue to monitor these people. Because the acting president said that the National Human Rights Commission should ensure that Nigerians who have been victims of SARS come forward to talk about how their rights were breached, so that they can, the atonement can come. Atonement can come for the violation of their rights.
I hear there's a new head, Human Rights Desk, and to be rechristened the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad. But again, Dare, the Police High Commission had consistently told you or refuted those claims against the SARS men. So,
let's take it.
Are we necessarily in a quandary here? No.
We shouldn't be. We shouldn't be, except where we, you see, like the late Shivram Kewabela was saying, he said, nobody can shave your head in your absence. Except where we agree to be in a quandary, we shouldn't be. If you listen to the Vice President, he has asked the National Human Rights Commission to facilitate the coming forward of victims. The same allegations denied by the police leadership. The Vice President has said, oh, there are victims. There can't be allegations without victims. Let them come forward. For two reasons. One, that we may, get justice for them. Secondly, that we may actually understand the basis upon which we can build this change we are desiring. And I believe very strongly, Nigerians are not cowards. Even during the military era, people came out to shout to the rooftops when their rights were infringed. And talking about whether these things are real or imagined, I can conveniently say that where I live in Ikorodu, I have witnessed not less than 2 incidents of people complaining immediately they've been robbed, as I want to say it, by SARS officers who led them to ATM and used that to collect 15,000. One incident was 15,000, which I followed the victim to even report at the nearest police station. Were directed. I spoke with the then police PRO over the matter, but as usual, nothing came out of it. So there are more than enough victims to come out and, nail these allegations.
But the hierarchy, the hierarchy of the police should be embarrassed by these things. Ordinarily, should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
As my people say, the pig of Pekin, they carry poto go meet mama, and so on.
You see, there's no doubt about it that they are embarrassed. They may hide the embarrassment, but within them, they know that the aberrant behavior of SARS men is a disgrace. So I remember in September 2016, this IG was begging SARS men, said, please, the reports that we are getting about you people, you need to stop these behaviors because it's an embarrassment. September 22, 2016. He said, because it's an embarrassment that these are the things that you are doing that people are complaining about. Please, we will do our best to support you, to motivate you. But this bad image, you need to do something about the bad image. That was in response to the amnesty, the damning amnesty report of that year. So he knows. So in addressing his people, he clearly let them realize that, look, we've had these things, and these things do not make us happy. So there's no one in the police who will say, look, at the other day, a SARS operative was arrested for armed robbery.
Yeah.
Yes. So is anybody going to claim that didn't happen? Is anybody
Giving what's on the floor?
Yes. Now, remember even the case of the Offa robber, a former SARS operative. SARS operative. Dismissed, and he went into full-blown armed robbery.
Just pause there a little. You dismiss an errant officer, and you are not prosecuting him. So dismissal is the answer?
At
that point, should you not?
We are not even sure he was not
nobody is sure, but you know that there's a reluctance even on the part of the police to punish their own people by way of prosecution. Many policemen have been involved in even murder.
Yeah.
After a few weeks in detention, you see them, they are out of
I remember they are post 6.
Because this is what happens. Yes, that post 6, some of them have been rewarded with promotion. What happens is it's still the police that will lead the investigation.
Then they find
so
a way to...
they can on their own compromise the investigation of their own people. So this is the situation. Unless it is done, even this change that we want, unless it is led by a neutral, independent body, unless it is overseen by a neutral, independent body, I don't trust the Idris-led police leadership, to make this happen.
Okay then. Dari, in taking this home, we say don't treat the symptoms. How do you put it? Don't treat the outcome. Treat the cause.
Yes.
Takes us to recruitment. How are people recruited into the police? Shouldn't you go there? It's important to determine who comes into the police. Are you here to make it a career of the police, or it's just a stopgap?
For something else. Well, it should be part of the reform we should be seeing from this moment. Like I said before, the vice president was quite, and the acting president was quite explicit. And if you read between the lines, he was actually saying more than we heard him saying. And I'm sure that the IG understands perfectly well what is expected of him. But again, the will to go all the way. In recruiting policemen, I think we should, even in the area...
women.
Policemen are women. Even in the area of their qualification, we should begin to go beyond what it used to be.
Yeah.
If you find policemen and women on the road who cannot even communicate with you in English, and you are expected to go to such a person and report incidents, and you find them calling other officers to come and listen to you because you aren't being understood. That area, then the motive of each individual coming to join the police should also matter. And then what is, pushing him or her in that direction. All this, if well looked into.
I hear we must roll over now. But Jide, let me share this. It's not funny. There's a story that broke years ago about the theft of a motorcycle at Ajegunle. And the man approached the desk. Oga, they don't thief my motorcycle. The man was raking. He said, write your statement. And they finished. I said, please, I borrowed money to buy it. And the man said, keep quiet. A whole ship is missing. And we are looking for the ship. Here you are talking about
a motorcycle.
All right. So the motorcycle should not be looked for.
Oh, yeah. But seriously speaking, the policeman, by constitution, is the most powerful man on Nigeria's roads. He's the only man who can enter your house, search you, stop you on the road, search you. Don't abuse that power. Now, still to come, anger over Saraki's refusal to recall National Assembly. You want to stay for details. All right, then. A particular muscular debate in our country now is the one that asks whether it is better to defend the country against the government, if you understand what I mean. At a time, a recall of the National Assembly from recess in the national interest rents the air. A rapprochement on the matter fizzled out yesterday when Senate President Bukola Saraki and Speaker Yakubu Dogara said There was no agreement on the recall. The budget for the 2019 general election is the whipping boy in the matter. And the election estimates were presented on July the 17th. Now, 1 month on, the budget remains unattended to. There is an uneasy calm all over the place.
Yes.
And why not?
There are all kinds of issues involved. And apart from the usual selfishness of the Nigerian politician, which we are seeing at play now, because selfishness is in the DNA of the Nigerian politician. You ask yourself whether they were actually born of the same egg. For people to behave in a manner that is so similar.
Or whether they are members of the human race to rationally look at things.
Yes, you see, because you just have to, it's amazing how matters of national interest get subordinated to personal interest. Because this is what we are seeing.
Yeah.
If the president actually indicated to the National Assembly as far back as 17th of July that he needed funds. He needed loans. He needed to take loans, foreign loans, to take care of the capital component of our budget. He also talked about the INEC funds that INEC needs to conduct the 2019 election. Now, the danger in not doing something is that election could be compromised. You know, a lot of what INEC does abroad. They will print, they will do, they prefer to do those things abroad, and then they will be shipped back here. And you need to be able to provide for the client your materials in good time.
Yeah.
Because if we do not do that, even the logistics of moving these things into the country, moving it in, requires days and weeks. So time is of essence. But our politicians don't appear to know that this is the situation. And
you're wondering if they themselves are not interested in the election.
They are interested in themselves. And I'm going to explain. Now, you know that the president has said, okay, there were some insertions that you made into my budget. Those I intend to fund the election through those funds. So take back those insertions. I don't want to call it padding because padding is so overflowed as a word. Take those insertions off so that we can use the funds for the election. But I can tell you, citizen, that these lawmakers will not agree to do that.
Because it's personal.
It is from there that they want to fund their own election.
Oh, really?
Yes, they will not agree. Write it down that I said so. They are going to tell the president to find money from elsewhere. Because if they take they take all of those insertions off, what they usually do in the name of this so-called constituency projects is that they will go and negotiate with the agencies that should execute those projects. Yeah. And they will take cash in lieu of the execution of those projects. This is a fact that I can prove.
Of course.
If we go everywhere, the politician tells you that he has a site, a constituency project site. If we take it upon ourselves to be going from site to site, I swear to Almighty God.
Don't.
We are going to. This is the way I want to say.
This is a hideout.
Wait,
don't swear.
No. It is between us and our God.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
I swear to God, we are going to discover that a lot of we just merely taking money off Nigeria and kept in our pocket. No, they are not executing those projects. What do? The little that they give people, they buy sewing machines for people. Yeah. They buy little things.
I've seen transistor radios.
buy cooking gas.
Whereas the constituency projects that we are talking about runs into billions.
Billions.
And even after that, presiding officers in the National Assembly, they will now set aside some money for themselves alone, some billion for themselves. That was what Jibrin. It's not. This is not new. That's what Jibrin talked about. How Dogara and Co. allocated much more. They will say they are giving for every lawmaker. Maybe you get an average of 40 million worth of projects in your constituency for each of them. But the presiding officers will go and get billions. After giving you, each of you, the 40-40, they will now allocate to themselves like 1.4 billion for one person and all that. So the stakes are high. And there is so much corruption. What the president wants to do by not funding those insertions into his budget, by not funding it, is one reason why we have this stalemate. Because they are negotiating, they are saying, no, this is what must happen and all that.
Dari, at this point, you cannot but go back to what I said in my preamble. You find, who do you defend, the government or your country? And is the countryman listening? Is he able to, is he mobilized enough to appreciate what Jide is saying?
Yeah, you see, that is one major problem. The picture Jide painted in other climes should elicit serious concern. But is it the same thing here? That's the question. At every point in time, we must, and that's where America as a nation is different.
Who you are not copying?
Well, we are
properly.
copying them, but haphazardly.
Properly.
Haphazardly. They defend their country. The government is just a component. People trusted with our mandate, our patrimony. So at every time we should defend. Talking about the current situation, it is worrisome that people to whom we have given our trust
Are betraying
us flagrantly, and we are doing nothing about it. For example, for God's sake, how can elected lawmakers explain the fact that they are comfortable refusing to come and do that which they have become fat cows for? They're sitting down being fed by the country, being clothed by the country. They collect.
Some of them are
traveling on our expenses. Yet, the only thing we ask of them is this. And now they are on recess till God knows when. And like he rightly pointed out, there is a clash of interest. And where your interest clashes with that of the country, and you choose to supersede that of the country with your personal interest, then we have a problem. And what do I mean by this? The issue of the fund Mr. President is concerned about, which he had openly said, look, we will fund the next election with these excesses that are obviously in our budget. So come sit down, withdraw these things, free this money for us to use it. It's one major reason, aside political interest, why this stalemate is on. Let me explain this, please. Now, you find a situation where people keep telling us these monies are meant for constituency project. Now, a constituency project that is to cost 70 million naira, the design is that you start building from the scratch up. You find that lawmakers going to an existing government building and just buying a few things, put it in there, repaint the building, and declare they have done constituency project. A group is going around the country, especially in Lagos now, reviewing what our lawmakers have been calling constituency project. Towards the end of the year, they will come up with a report. You will be shocked that people have been pocketing billions of naira for doing nothing. And what do? They turn around and buy cooking gas, they buy mosquito nets, and distribute to Nigerians, and we clap for them.
You never hear transistor radio.
Well, I heard of that somewhere up north. But even here in Lagos, mosquito nets were distributed. Cooking gas as constituency project. It is shameful, and we should be worried by this.
They call it empowerment.
What are you empowering with a cooking gas?
And
it's unfortunate.
Jide, when you hear that many members are on pilgrimage to Mecca, nobody's quarreling with that. You are looking at your pilgrimage to Mecca is a personal thing. National interest is here. Must one suffer for the other?
You know what they are saying? They are saying that there is even no need to reconvene. That what should happen is for the committees
That's the joint committees appropriation, loans and debts, and
of both houses
to meet.
To meet.
So
when they meet,
give a
they will now
report.
give a report that there is no need for the whole house
to
meet before that report is ready. So when people imagine that, okay, oh, this must happen during this week, I just wonder how that's going to happen. Because these same individuals have gone to the Hajj Commission to say, okay, let us, the airlift of pilgrims, let the last day be Thursday, believing that they can actually sit on Friday. But you know that by their rules, they don't even sit on Fridays. They don't sit on Fridays. So
not
all
even
forms,
in an emergency session?
except if they want to, no, they would want, no, on Thursday, to sit on Thursday so that they can travel on Friday. That was what I meant.
Okay.
They don't sit on Friday. Even in an emergency, they are not likely to sit on Friday. So what is happening now, horse trading is going on. The people who have traveled to Mecca, they don't want anything to disrupt their pilgrimage unless it is something really very serious. And let me tell you, on both sides, Saraki wants to defend his position by all means. Ordinarily, if people are attacking you the way they are attacking you, naturally you expect that you say, look, gentlemen, I give up my position. Morally, that is not a bad thing to do. But there are people who tell you, no, don't do it. And all what they're after is, to remove Saraki, we know that they will offer us money. So there are some of them who are waiting in the wings to see what will come from this side, and the other people too are waiting for Saraki to see what he will offer. So for them, it is a win-win situation. This logjam that we have, for which you and I are agonizing, is a win-win situation for these fellows. People need to know them. I was saying this yesterday. I said, see, when you are over-excited and hopeful that this is the way this thing will end, remember that there are moles on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the fact.
Oh, yeah.
There are moles on both sides. And these guys are eating here, eating here. You don't even know. That way they are saving money for their election. So this has effectively played into their hands.
So are we looking at the word sabotage here?
Yeah, well, that's it. If you have moles, either way will be sabotaged. And now, who suffers? The country.
All right. I hear we must move on. Let the debate continue. But there is a saying, a little quiz in America, in the United States. It is, if the opposite of pro is con, what is the opposite of progress? They say it's Congress. Can we bring it home here? I don't know. All right, then. We are taking this breather. We'll return. Please stay. Don't go away just yet. Okay, welcome back. It's still the Journalists Hangout. It's a hangout for pen pushers, newsmen. Here at this table, we discuss issues, provoke the debate, and allow you to draw the conclusions. Now, according to the books, a direct primary election is one in which candidates for public office are chosen by direct votes of the electors, as opposed to a more contentious vote by delegates at a convention. Now, the leaders of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Lagos, have decided that candidates for next year's elections will be determined through a direct primary system. The national leader of the party, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, drew attention to the model that produced the Osun governorship candidate of the party for the September 22nd poll. Now, the exercise is expected to be a seamless one. Let's hear from the APC national leader himself.
The number one agenda is that we are going to register additional members, new members we must open our register throughout the state. And hold me responsible if you don't have your membership card at the end of the registration. We are going to use only membership card of APC for primaries.
Jide, as always, there's a difference between a good sounding idea and an idea that sounds good. Direct primaries, how foolproof is this, given our circumstance?
This idea sounds good, and it's a good sounding idea.
Okay.
They've tried it. They tried it in Osun, and it worked. And the amazing thing about the success in Osun is that they didn't even have enough time to test run it. They went for it in a matter of a few days, and it became a success. So I believe that it can work. Just as Asiwaju said, this is one way of rekindling the supremacy of internal democracy, the majesty of internal democracy in our parties. And he's saying that with this, power has returned to the ordinary folks in the parties. Because if the delegates election, it's usually won by those who have so much money.
Yeah.
So those without considerable means, they can expect to contest. And if they are popular in their constituencies, they will be elected through the direct primaries. I'm not saying that they still won't spend money.
Yeah.
But the kind of money, $10,000, $5,000 per delegate that we always say about in an election year, with direct primaries, that can be banished. And the cost of running your campaign will inevitably go down. This is a fact. With what we saw in Osun, I don't think that Oyetola, who emerged winner of the APC primaries in Osun, can say that he spent as much as he would have expected to spend were it to be
delegates.
were delegates election, were delegates to pick him at that time. So this is a fact. The people will now have power put in their hands as party men. The only thing is that the register of the party has to be opened. It has to be constantly updated, reviewed.
Yeah.
And primary venues must be known to everyone. It shouldn't be the sort of thing that happened in Imo State, where even the governor, brought out...
Had no voting...
No, he had no idea where the venue was.
No voting center.
Yes, he didn't know where the voting was taking place. And he grabbed the commissioner of police. He was breaking down doors, using torchlight, trying to search. Where are these people? In his own, and he's the chief security officer of the state. In his
leader of the party.
Leader of the party, yet he was effectively gazumed by So it has to be, because it is not a foolproof system. But if they put some measures in place, like I talked about, the people, the register must be updated. In fact, they should paste on the secretariat to everyone. They should paste the list of party members so that people can check whether their names are there. Because your name is not there, you can't vote. You can easily be disenfranchised. It's also what they need to do is ensure that it is foolproof, and that it doesn't bring rancor of any sort, because...
But you need a lot of voter education here at this stage.
Yes.
Continue.
And even the primaries too, after the primaries, there should be appeals committee set up that will also be transparent in the conduct of their duty. That is the only way that everyone can feel that, yes, truly
Very quickly,
we belong.
would this tame godfatherism, godmotherism, and imposition?
Yeah, well, our expectation is that it should. Not just godfatherism, but also money politics to a large extent. I was opportune to be in Osun when this this model was used to pick the APC candidate. And one thing I noticed across the state as we moved was the enthusiasm of the people, party members.
Yes.
It was a sharp.
It is now your show. It is our
you
show.
see old women who had been members of the party who are lucky to have the card, who had their names in the register, coming out to say, we are going to elect our candidate. And then the enthusiasm, what APC has done for itself with this in Lagos State, where it's starting from now, is that, one, it has turned itself to the real populist party it should be. More people will move this way, knowing whether they will have a say in determining who runs for the party.
If it succeeds.
If it succeeds.
And Lagos is the metaphor.
I mean, once it succeeds here,
yeah.
I bet you
And
it
be
will be copied
externalized.
across. It will be externalized and copied across. And the involvement of the national leader coming out is, like he said, the party is being returned to the people. All you need to do now to be part of the process of electing the next governor of Lagos State is to join APC.
Okay. Have your PVC.
Have your PVC.
And your party
because you
card.
are not going to vote with just the party card.
Yeah.
Like they said that Acme yesterday, you will also need to have your PVC. We want to know, they want to know you are going to be part of those who will vote eventually. So a lot of people will see that as novel. Oh, let me join this party where I can decide who is a candidate, then subsequently decide who wins it. So, and also, secondly, the issue of money. We had so much complaints after the Ondo primaries then. It became a serious issue. Then we moved to Ekiti. The same thing repeated itself. I want you to compare those two states, their primaries now, of the same party, APC, with what what is emanating from Osun. They have been silenced. Those who felt they ought to have won are leaving the party peacefully.
Yes.
There is little or no allegations that I was the highest bidder got, but they are saying we ought to
muzzled out.
They were muzzled out because the people came out to vote. But to add to that is the issue of the process now. The party should make it seamless.
Dari, we must bury it there. The backroom boys say time is the master here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we wish the APC in Lagos Godspeed. Now, Nigeria's fighting troops, men and women, sacrifice much so that our country would remain free from insurgency on the inside, and so we owe them a debt of gratitude. We mourn with them when the same men and women are felled by the enemy. Cheering reports reaching us say several insurgents lost their lives, while many more were injured in a bloody clash with troops of the Nigerian army. The Gundari incident, I hope I got that right, at a military formation in the Guzamala local government area of Borno State. Lamentably, though, some 32 soldiers who died recently in the hands of Boko Haram were buried on Monday. Sad tale, sad tale.
Yes.
You win some, you lose some.
Boko Haram has just suddenly felt the need to be attacking military formations. The soldiers who were buried on Monday in the presence of their relatives, the army invited them to witness the burial. Initially, the army didn't want them to see the corpses of their people, but they protested. They were allowed to see those corpses and pay last respect, and then they were buried. Those soldiers were the victims of the twin ambushes by Boko Haram. The first one happened in Bama, and then 24 hours later in a town called Jili in Yobe State, in Gedam local government, close to the border with Niger Republic. Another army formation was attacked by Boko Haram men wearing military uniform. And these officers had just been mobilized to that
Environment.
yes, 81 division
Yeah.
forward base, and then they thought that they were their own
Yeah.
colleagues
Boys, yeah.
until they opened fire on them and they killed scores of our soldiers. Then there was another, last week in Damasak, they attacked another army formation where about 18 soldiers were said to have been killed. So the good news is that they went to Gundari with the same mission of killing our soldiers in their base, taking the battle to them in their military formation. But our soldiers repelled them. 8 soldiers wounded, 7 of the insurgents killed. At least they successfully turned them back. This sends a clear signal that there is still a lot to fight for.
Yeah.
The enemy has not been defeated. We must not relax. If we relax one bit, the consequences will be really fatal. Remember the theater commander, Rogers Nicholas, the middle past theater commander. The governor of Borno State described him as the best theater commander in the history of the war. But you saw what happened. Those 2 reverses that our soldiers suffered within 24 hours caused his removal.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and they've changed. They put someone else there. So eternal vigilance, as they say, is the price of liberty.
Yeah, that's
Our
it.
soldiers must remain vigilant. These Boko Haram men still remain dangerous, and it is because they've lost so many of their weapons, their hardware. So what they are doing now is to attack military bases so that they can steal army trucks, so that they can steal weapons of our soldiers. Once they overrun the military base, they will take the weapons away.
Yeah.
And they usually go with far more fighters than they are sure we have stationed in that particular base, so that they overwhelm them with strength
one
in
cannot
numbers.
rule out the inglorious business of fifth columnists.
Of course,
who give
because
information away.
when that attack happened in Bama, what came to my mind was, how did they know that our troops were going to pass through that place at that time? When they attacked the oil workers, you know, last year,
Lake Chad,
and yes, we were going to prospecting. That was the same question that I asked, because they
did
had
they know?
they mined that road. They not only mined the road, they put snipers everywhere, and then they also put IEDs, so that by the time it was like a 3-pronged attack. So those guys in the bedlam, you lose a tire after stepping on a mine. In the process of trying to change tires, they came out of the bush and then began to kill our people. How did they know that they were going to pass through that area around that time? And their timing was correct. So there are 5th columnists. The army must try its best to flush out the bad eggs who appear to be giving information to the enemy.
Yeah, there is when the Christian prays the popular Lord's Prayer, lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. This is what we are talking about. Mine is the audacity, how audacious these guys are. Brazen, you know, emboldened.
Each time we have to discuss our soldiers and Boko Haram, my heart goes out to the relatives of these ones that are laying down their lives daily. And it's unfortunate this is happening, but we are fighting a war, and this is part of the prices we have to pay. But the audacity of Boko Haram in coming for our men in their own bases, to me, a drowning man will clutch at even straws. Like Jide said, they've lost most of their hardwares. They've been dismembered, and they are scattered all over the place. So a few who are able to regroup will go for missions that will, one, present them as people who are recovering. Two, give them opportunities to steal and loot ammunitions and machineries. And this, our military should look out for. The Boko Haram seems to have lost the ability to stage large-scale attacks. But these attacks on our isolated attacks on our troops, is giving a wrong impression that they may be, coming
That's
up again. So we need to watch out for situations like this and prevent them, especially to reduce the human cost of this war as it is rolling up. Because in wars like this, I listen to Jide, who has become, who I see as a master in this, and he keeps repeating one thing, that you don't win this kind of war easily. It does not end just in a day. Even when they are no longer fighting and bombing everywhere, we cannot rule out. If the soldiers on the war front should retreat, these Boko Haram people will follow them.
Yes.
If they retreat as far back as Abuja, they will be in Abuja in no time. So we need to be up and doing. The military formation should be up and doing to stop isolated attacks like this as much as possible.
Have to be vigilant.
Then vigilance should be the watchword. Then we should probably go for the Boko Haram men, wherever they may be. If we relax, we'll give them room to recoup. And once they do, they will come to do things like this. So we must keep fighting, and I'm sure victory stares us in the face.
Jide, in taking this home, therefore, it recalls to in the Obasanjo days when you had some people volunteering to mediate, to come between Boko Haram, and you think we should not exploit that? Too late?
Oh, with the kind of leadership that Boko Haram has now, especially the Shekau faction, they are not going to negotiate. The Abu Musab al-Banawi faction, maybe, just maybe, because they are not as bloodthirsty as the other.
Because
but
the man on the street is...
The attacks on the army these days are
by
largely carried out by...
This is what I mean, because the man on the street is wondering if this has become a way of life. Must we live with it?
No, we have to find a way to end this, because, and those guys too, they are making money from these attacks. When they kidnap people, we pay them heavy ransom. So they don't want it to end. But we must find a way to end this thing, and we have to be vigilant. One particular night attack on our troops in 2016 was carried out when they were watching a European Champions League game. Around 9:30, 10. They came, surrounded their base, and killed so many of our soldiers. So, and another one in Sasawa, they were actually playing football. They were playing football when this guy suddenly came.
So
in that particular attack,
soft targets and so on.
the commander was killed in that particular attack in Sasawa. So the thing is, we have to be vigilant, and they enjoy killing our soldiers so that they can announce that, we are still there. So we have to deny them opportunity to...
And also funding.
The funding has to be good enough. It has to be good enough, and I'm happy that the president has told the CBN governor that whenever these people need money, you must make it available. In fact, on a particular day, when the chief of air staff wanted money, it was the CBN governor by himself who was taking files round to ensure that the chief of air staff got the money that they needed, because it's an expensive war. Where the Air Force spends about 145 million every month on jet A1 aviation fuel. So it's an expensive war. It has to end.
It has to end.
The show must also end at this point, even if on a sad note. Jide, just before we go, this came in from a viewer. It's a letter commending what you do here. First of all, the writing. Aren't you enamored of this writing?
This is
I haven't
excellent
seen it.
writing.
What do you see the name there?
A big ardent listener and fan, Samuel Akinuga.
Yeah. He says so.
Yes, and he is also very happy with the work that Citizen Jones does and the program generally.
So it's the writing that...
The writing reminds me of those days. It is those people trained in those days that write this.
So
excellent.
don't write off old school. All right, we must end the show here, not before thanking Dare Udu for Okon. Many thanks. And of course, Jide Kolade, Jide Otitoju. So that's our show for the evening. If you missed it, and also watch Journalists Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen, and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. The feedback channel is the same. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.